Your Honor, can we do Mills?
Can we what?
Can we do the Mills matter? Samuel Mills?
Sure. So let's go to Samuel Mills and Rebecca Mills. Let me get my notes here. All right, in the Mills matter, I want to check in on the visits that I ordered, and then we have to make a decision about the vehicle. And Mr. Mills has filed a declaration requesting full custody. I think I want to go to Ms. Day first, and then we'll go from there.
Thank you, Your Honor. I have had contact with both parents, and I've been able to observe Dad's visits in part, obviously not the whole visit. And I haven't found any concerns. I don't have any concerns about his visitation with the boys. The home is clean and appropriate. The children are bonded to him. They seek him out. He meets their needs. And I don't have any concerns about that. I think the visitation should continue. I wouldn't have any objection to that being Friday to Sunday, provided Dad is not working. If Dad is working, I think it should remain Saturday to Sunday. I know there's been some discussion between the parents about that when Dad had to work for a little bit on Saturday, and he asked the children to be dropped off at their regular time with his sister. And I don't have any objection to that. That's perfectly fine. The children know the aunt, and I think that's appropriate. I was able, yesterday I received the CPS reports that I've been waiting on. Those do indicate a very past history of domestic violence. So I think it's appropriate for an anger evaluation to occur within the next 60 to 90 days for father, just so that I have that information and if there's anything that needs to be done. It is old history, but those do line up with some of the allegations that mother has made. The difference being that it was like almost 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So it's not a recent history, but I think that alleviates kind of that accusation and kind of addresses that. Do you have any questions, Your Honor?
Not right now. I probably will in a moment. Mr. Mills, let me hear from you next.
Well, I mean, you read my declaration. I don't believe Rebecca is very emotionally stable. She makes very rash decisions and is impulsive. She has defamed me. She has lied. She has embellished on her declarations. She's doing everything she can to make this case something it's not. This is just a divorce where two parents didn't get along. We have had our problems, and it is time for us to move on, but she shouldn't be using the children as a weapon to hurt me. I mean, she met a new boyfriend, and within 2 weeks was trying to take the kids and all their presents to his house on Christmas Eve, to have Christmas Eve there and Christmas morning. That's not appropriate. She just met this guy online, and within not even 2 weeks was trying to do that. She's trying everything she can to remove me from their lives and have this new life with her new boyfriend as the new dad. She's had those multiple motions for reconsideration when the children are in no harm's way. She's gotten the kids on state health insurance when I have excellent health care, but she has failed to provide me with the birth certificates that she took. She claims to have lost them every time I have asked, but they got to be somewhere. She was able to apply for welfare. She was able to get them on health or on the state health insurance. And the photos that she submitted saying that I beat her were me defending myself. They're small bruises of me grabbing her to stop her from hitting me, and she's held on to them for years to use as blackmail. And she's doing everything she said she would. Every time I've brought up before in the past that I wanted a divorce, she's this is basically what she said she would do. She said she has all this evidence of they're saying, who are they going to believe? Big you or little me? There's no marks on me. You have no photos of marks on you. And this is just not what she's making it out to be. I do work for a living. That does complicate things with the children. However, I do have adequate childcare with my family. The kids will never be watched by anyone that isn't their family. And I do work for a living. Rebecca is entitled. She's applied for welfare when her new boyfriend pays for everything she has. She is a licensed cosmetologist. She can work. She's able to work. But she's just trying to manipulate the state and manipulate this divorce hearing and just to get her way.
All right, thank you. Ms. Mills?
Hi. Is it my turn to talk?
Yes.
I think that Sam uses a lot of not very kind descriptive language like manipulative, liar, which is harmful. I don't know what exactly I have manipulated or lied about. I do know that in Samuel's very first filing, when he asked for full custody, that is the first time I have ever heard him speak any negativity towards me as a mother. It's the only time he has ever spoken about full custody. And the only reason that he filed that temporary order in the first place was because I found evidence of drug use in his home where my children could easily, there was a morphine 30 milligram pill in a plastic baggie. My children could have easily grabbed that. He has SARMs, if you know what that is. It's basically like legal, not for human consumption steroids, estrogen blockers, things like that on his nightstand where my children can just untwist the cap and take it. Those are not locked in a safe place. That is a huge concern. The only reason he asked for full custody was, I believe that was a vindictive attack on me. He's never expressed a want for full custody or even 50-50. Previously, yeah, we have had a tumultuous relationship. And every time Samuel left, he would leave once a month, which I'm sorry, that is unstable for the children. That's a pattern of his, leaving once every month for nights, days, blocking me, providing no financial support, totally neglecting the children and leaving them in my care. And he would say, oh, I just want them on my days off, and I'll get it. I just want them on my days off. So I think that him asking for full custody is not being truthful. I think that during his visits, his mother has been there. Almost for the entirety of the visits. My kids come home and they share it. And I know from experience that when grandma's there, it's an experience. She makes them breakfast, she entertains them, she takes care of them, and which is great from a child's perspective. But his mother was abusive to Samuel as a child and neglectful, which is very concerning that now she is almost taking the lead in his parenting time. And also that he's asking for full custody. And then in his latest declaration, he's backpedaling and saying, I am asking for custody or at least equal time. So he's already backpedaling. He doesn't want full custody. He's never wanted full custody. This is an attack on me through the children. He can't even handle the 2 days a week right now without his mom being there or relying on a babysitter.
May I respond to that, Your Honor?
I'm losing time with my children to
Let's
leave.
let Ms. Mills finish. Go ahead.
I'm losing time with my kids so that they can be with a babysitter. If it's family or not, I'm losing time. He's not missing any time with them. I'm the one losing time.
Okay. Mr. Mills, briefly, and then I want to go back to Ms. Dane.
To address the at least halftime, that's just because I understand that in these circumstances, the father getting full custody is very rare. and I just want as much time with my children as possible. And referencing my mother coming over, my mother comes over for a few hours because she misses the kids. She's not taking the lead. I'm not sitting back and doing nothing. We're engaging with the kids. She comes over to see them because she hasn't seen them very much these past few months.
Ms. Day, have you observed Mr. Mills' mother being present when you were at his house?
So when I did the drop-in visit, it was a drop-in visit. It was unannounced. Mr. Mills' new girlfriend was there, and I thought it was her mother, but maybe it was his mother. They were there, but the children were not engaging with them. The children were engaging with dad. They were playing with him. He was reading to them. They were in the kitchen doing their own thing. So I did not observe that somebody else was taking the lead in this. I would point out to the court that both of these parents have moved on relatively quickly to new partners and introduced these very young children to new partners, new living circumstances, all the way around. That is where I see the instability. I don't see the instability in any other situation that they are not both equally culpable in. And I've been very frank with both parties about that. Children are very impacted by these sudden changes, and then these new partners that are involved. Both of these parents have some pretty strong emotional feelings right now, and I understand that. But there's nothing that I've found so far that would tell me that either parent is not able to parent their children during their time. I think father should have residential time. I think mom should have residential time. I don't think there's any reason that the paternal family cannot provide care if father has to work during a small portion of that time just for continuity. I don't see any concerns with that. I don't find that. I also don't find anything that would concern me to the level of drug use and drug abuse going on in father's home. I've been walked through his home on a couple of occasions now. I've not seen anything present in his life, in his person, or in the home that would give me that concern.
Do you work Friday nights, Mr. Mills?
I work Friday during the day. So my work schedule is Monday through Friday. And then I occasionally have a Saturday shift, which tends to be a shorter shift, but it's because I work construction. And it's just if there's work to be done. So that those Saturdays aren't guaranteed.
What time do you typically get home on Friday?
Around 5:30.
Okay. I think I said this before. I think you're both good parents, and the concern is you don't get along with each other. But I've read, you both have written things that impugn your ability to be a parent. That is completely disputed by Ms. Day, who says both of you are fine. And that's what I'm going to accept. I think you both love your kids. You just have the issue with each other. We may get to an equal time with the children, but I think we're a couple steps away from that at this point. I'm going to expand the visitation from Friday at 6 or 6:30, whenever you can pick up the children, until Sunday. And I don't know when we ended it on Sunday, but whatever the end time is.
6, Your Honor.
All right, to 6 on Sunday. So I'm going to expand it to that. And I think I'm going to leave that for a couple months. And then we'll look at it, and then we're going to have to make some adjustments. I don't think it's appropriate permanently that the father get all the weekends and the mother get no weekends. I think that needs to be shared. But right now, I want to make sure that the children are spending time with their father. So I am going to order every Friday through Sunday.
And I hope to have my report done within 30 to 40 days at the most. So once that's prepared, then I think it would be appropriate to see where things are at.
2 months from now would be, let's say, the end of June. So that would be June 28th. That's when we should be back. All right, the other issue I think is we were going to address, I think it was a Kia automobile that Ms. Mills wanted to use. And she wanted Mr. Mills to pay for. And if I'll start with Ms. Mills, if you want to address that issue, and then I'll have Mr. Mills address it. If you could do it fairly quickly, I'm running over on this docket already. So go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can we backpedal just briefly? I am so concerned as to why we have completely skipped over Sam's use of illegal substances. He's been arrested for that and didn't learn his lesson at all. Why are we not looking into that at all?
Ms. Day has been to the house. She's observed Mr. Mills. Has not brought any concerns to the court's attention. So it has not been ignored, but it does not appear to be an issue right now.
And we can't do a drug test just for the safety of my kids and peace of mind. If he does not have a drug issue, then it should come back clean, right? And then I'll feel better about my kids. We can move past that.
Let me ask Ms. Day, any response to that?
I don't have any objection to father providing a hair follicle test that would verify that he's been remained clean and sober for the last 90 days, or clean. There's not an issue with alcohol that I'm aware of, but I just haven't seen anything that would lead me to that. Generally, that kind of information isn't just taken off of one person's report. I realize that he has a prior conviction that's quite some time ago. I don't see any evidence of drug use currently, and I would obviously continue investigating that and bring that to the court's attention if I had any concerns between now and the time that we finish this case. So I have no objection, but I don't have a reason for
I'll
request.
handle it this way. I'll have Mr. Mills do a hair follicle test. If it comes back positive, well, he'll have to initially pay for it. If it comes back positive, he will pay for it. If it comes back negative, Ms. Mills will pay for it. And if she's not able to pay for it, then it will be a credit towards any kind of payment Mr. Mills makes. Also, Ms. Day indicated she wanted to have an anger management evaluation in the next 60 to 90 days. And I'm sorry, I skipped over that. I think that does make sense given, I guess, the remote history. So I will order that also.
And I have a question. We had talked about domestic violence counseling, where I would go in and talk about my experiences, and then they would counsel him according to that, which I think it's so important to do that for him and his future relationships. And the fact that he has moved on, I know I have too, but the fact that there is another woman in a relationship around my children, I think that DV counseling, even over anger management.
I'm going to go with the anger management evaluation, and we'll see where that goes. Okay. Do you want to address the Kia?
Yeah, I have driven that vehicle since we got it, I believe in 2019. Samuel has always paid for it, and he has always said, like I said, we've had a tumultuous relationship, and every time we've thought, oh, we're going to divorce, he has always said, oh, you'll always have a vehicle. You'll always have I'll make sure you always have a car, until I moved on with someone else. And then it was, give me my car back. I need the car back. I'm not paying for it. Which I think is just vindictive. I do have children that need to be driven around, and he has always paid for it. And I think he should continue to. He took the insurance off of it. He says that he didn't, but his car is insured still. So mine was removed from insurance. I've had to pay for a flat tire. I've had to pay for the registration on the car. And currently it has a dead battery that I haven't addressed because I haven't known who it would go to. And I can't afford to keep paying on this car if I don't know if I'm going to be keeping it.
Mr. Mills.
So her boyfriend just bought her a new car. Every single time we've done the pickups, she's not driving that car. She's driving the new car that was bought for her. The reason there's no insurance on it is because the insurance lapsed because I couldn't pay for it, and I can't even pay, like, I can't pay for it now. Can't pay for that insurance. I can't pay for the car now. Financially, things used to be different. I used to bring home more money. I don't bring home as much now. And also, I was able to pay for that because she paid other bills. And so she's saying, I always paid for the car, so I have to pay for it. Well, she always paid for my other bills. Is she going to keep paying for those?
All right, I'm going to allow the Kia to go to Ms. Mills, but she will be responsible for the payment on it. So both the car payment and insurance and whatever maintenance.
It is
Her response.
behind 2 months right now, Your Honor. So I need 2 payments for it.
Say that one more time. I'm sorry.
There are 2 payments due for that car.
Okay.
And I have a question. I can't afford car payments. If I did, I would go out and get car payments. So I know that in the past, Samuel has talked about just turning it back into the bank. He tacked on a $5,000 loan onto that car loan. So if he's not going to be the one paying for it, then I don't want it.
All right. Well, that's a choice. If you want it, then you'll need to pay
Your
the
Honor,
payments. If
she
you don't want to
only
make,
wants it if I'm going to pay
then
for
you
it.
can leave the Kia with Mr. Mills.
Okay. Can I have a couple of days to get that back to him, or how does that work?
Yeah, you have it now. Let's get it back to him by Sunday. Okay.
And I also want to state that my boyfriend bought himself a new car. He didn't buy me a car.
Okay. All right. I think those are the issues for today.
Your Honor, I
Yes.
just have a couple things I want to bring up now to be addressed at a different hearing. If I may,
Go ahead.
we have accumulated $5,000 in credit card debt. I'd like for her to pay her half of that.
Okay, just a minute. Before we go into all of that, well, if we want to handle more property issues on a temporary basis, I'm gonna have to set another hearing. I can't address those today
Okay.
because I haven't read anything about it. I was here to adjust visitation and the car.
Right.
That's what's before us today. Do you want me to set a hearing in a couple weeks to address other issues?
Please, but I have one that's really simple. I just need her to remove herself from the PUD. She is the primary person for the PUD. And when I asked her to do it, she said it's not her problem for me to deal with it. So I am not the primary on my own electric bill. And she refused to give me any of the login information. I was eventually able to get new login information, but she's still the primary and can go in and change it anytime.
All right, all of those issues I'm gonna have to put over. And I'm gonna do 3 weeks. And Mr. Mills, I want you to file a declaration listing all of those additional issues and what you'd like to see happen. You need to do that in like a week and a half. Give it to Ms. Mills so she has a chance to respond. All right, and we'll come back here on May 31. And we'll
That's to address finances only.
yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Makes
All right. That brings us to Mills and Mills. And I wanted Mr. Mills, I think, has a number of property financial issues he wants to discuss, but we're going to handle that on May 31. So it seemed to me the only thing in front of me today was a motion to waive the GAL fee. And I think I've already done that for Ms. Mills. So Mr. Mills, that's a motion you brought, is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Did we discuss what your income is? In the,
Uh,
and if not, can you let me know what it is?
I have filed a financial declaration previously that showed my income.
Okay,
Um,
let me,
I can give you a verbal on my hourly if you'd like.
give me just a moment here. All right, I've got, you indicated monthly income of 2472. Is that still about right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And expenses of 2830. That's your net income. So your gross income, it looks like higher. It looks like 3532.
Uh,
And are you
approximately.
working full time now, or is it
Yes,
seasonal?
yes.
Or tell me about it.
It's full-time, Your Honor. It's construction. I'm in an apprenticeship,
Okay.
and during the time of the year, the work slows down. So it's summer, so I do have more consistent work right now. And also, when the job is done, I will be unemployed until there's another job that my union can put me on.
Okay. Ms. Mills, do you have any comment on his motion to waive the GAL fee?
No.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and grant that motion.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. I don't think anything else was before us today, but I'll let the parties correct me if I'm wrong. Ms. Mills, do you think there are any other decisions today? Again, the property issues we're gonna handle in 2 weeks.
I saw it was on the Odyssey that it was Tina Day's final review. So I guess I'm wondering when that is going to take place.
It's not with us right now. It probably was a date that I had put in the order. And if she was here, I guess we could talk to her. I'm not sure why she's not here. But I think she's still working with both of you, and that will come up.
Okay.
Hopefully she'll be here on the 31st and we can find out where she's at.
Okay. I do have one concern.
Okay.
I have a few, but I think I'll just stick to the one today. We have a mutual friend, and he has told this friend that it's concerning the protection order, that this is a temporary order and it just hasn't ended yet. And he's also mentioned to our third party that there's no distance in the protection order. So I guess I just want to make sure that he maybe goes and picks up a copy of this and understands that this is an order. It is not a temporary order, and to make sure that he's following it properly.
Okay. I will encourage Mr. Mills to do that.
I was also wanting to ask if we could enforce the right of first refusal. It's my understanding that my kids in Sam's time have been spending a lot of time with babysitters. I think that they are missing their parents, not babysitters. Sam is missing his time due to work or activities, and I'm missing my time with my kids due to Sam not allowing me to raise my kids and have that time with my kids. Tina Day has said that, there's no dangers at my home. I'm a stay-at-home mother. I don't see any need for our kids to be with a babysitter really at any given time unless one of us isn't available.
All right, before we respond to that, I think Mr. Mills should have a chance to consider that. I'm willing to put that proposal on the 31st also, and address that. I don't know that I want anybody just having to shoot from the hip on responding to it. Okay. All right.
May I, Your Honor?
Again, if you're going to talk about first right of refusal, we'll take that up in more detail on the 31st. But go ahead, Mr. Mills.
Well, in response to that, so the only time I have someone else watch them, and I don't do other activities, the only thing that comes in the way is work. And because it is summertime, I frequently have a Saturday shift that is typically shorter than my normal shifts. And our current plan is I pick them up Friday evenings and keep them through Sunday. So the only time that they are not in my care is in the morning to the very early afternoon when my mother, she stays the night Friday night, and I wake up early, I go to work, and then I come home, and then it's just me until drop off on Sunday. So they're not spending a majority of time with anybody but me. And it's just right now, because of the time of year, I need on Saturday that babysitter for a few hours.
And sir, again, I'm not making a decision on that today. I am, we're going to do that on the 31st. So I'll need to discuss that further with you on that time.
Oh, I am so sorry. I have one more thing. We had talked about a hair follicle test, and I was wondering if we could put a timeline on that, a date that he needs that submitted, because he admitted to using, illegal prescription drugs that were not prescribed to him in court. I believe it was March 1st. And so many days have already gone by that, 90 days, his test might come back negative. I'd really like a timeline soon on that if we could.
You have that done by May 31, Mr. Mills.
That's not a problem. Excuse me. That's not a problem. I need direction on what is acceptable, when and where. And that's what I've been waiting on this whole time.
Well, kind of a typical is to have you do a 12-panel hair follicle test. Columbia Wellness will do it. And that's where I would check.
Okay, and if they make me pay up front, you said that if it comes back negative, Rebecca will be responsible for that. So
Right.
Okay,
Right.
fantastic. Thank you. I had a couple things I was hoping to bring up, if there's nothing else to go over right now.
Okay, I'm somewhat late on my other dockets, so go ahead and it may be something I'll say let's take up on the 31st, and I'll try to call your case earlier so we have more time on the 31st.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, we've been doing pickup drop off in person. Rebecca has approached me and spoken with me. The Sunday before last, she approached me and said that she wanted to work together to do what's best for the kids, which is completely different than her attitude that she brings to court, which, as I've stated before, she's putting an act on to make this court or this case something it's not. And my last pickup on Friday, she allowed me to pick them up early from her house. And I did bring them back early on Mother's Day. So we kind of had that agreement with each other that I could pick them up early on Friday and I would bring them back in the morning so she could have Mother's Day with the children. And there has not been any issues with us meeting in person. So I just don't understand how that works with the anti-harassment order, because in court, she's saying she wants to do it by the books, but I mean, we haven't been, and she's been fine meeting me in person.
Okay, well, I think her cooperation doesn't really remove the order.
Right.
And
The order is anti-harassment. It's so that you can't say personal things about me. That's what the order is. And it's also maintaining a distance from me, aside from pickup or drop off with our children.
Right. That's the only exception. Okay.
And then I know we're crunched for time. If I may just throw in a couple
Okay.
things, I'm sure they'll be addressed at a later date. I do not like having to go through her boyfriend, the man she's trying to replace me as the father of our child, just to get information on my kids. I am perfectly okay doing a parenting app or just messaging her directly. I believe the reason she doesn't want to do that is because she doesn't trust herself to say something that wouldn't complicate her situation in this court hearing. And I think it's insulting that I have to speak to him to find information out about my children when we could go through a parenting app and discuss it with each other.
I did want to move away from that line of communication. Let's take that up on the 31st also.
Okay, can I just interject there and say that I offered multiple times to do a parenting app. We also went through his sister Angela, who said she no longer wanted to do it. She didn't want to be in between us. And then we went to another third party. So the
Let's take it up on the 31st, please. Okay. Anything else, Mr. Mills?
Yes, further finances to be discussed on the 31st. The bank is charging me nearly $500 a month that the Kia was not insured while it was in her custody, and I want to submit when that is all squared away. I haven't gotten the exact number, but I would like to submit that and hope that she would pay what the bank has added to that car.
All right, you can submit the whatever paperwork supports that. Try to get it in by the 31st.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Thank you both. And on the 31st, again, I will call your case near the beginning so we have plenty of time to go over all these issues.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
2 weeks. Take care. All right. Next is Samuel Mills and Rebecca Mills. I see Rebecca Mills is here. I actually was a little surprised to see this on the docket because I think we're going to take up a lot of issues next week. Was there a issue in particular that you wanted to address today, Ms. Mills?
I had one quick one, but I don't see Samuel here, and I feel like he would probably need to be here.
Okay.
I was hoping, I know that we had ordered a hair follicle test, and I was hoping that if he hadn't taken it yet, we could switch the 12 panel to a 17 panel, because that will test for what he admitted to actually taking. The other one won't test for that.
All right. We made a note about that. We'll take that up next week. Again, I appreciate you being here, and I'm certain I put this on the docket for today, but I've been putting all of the issues off for next week, and I hope to address many of those at that time. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. We'll see you then.